Hey everyone, this is Chris Bolts, and yesterday we got some really good news. Kathleen Kennedy is finally exiting. Just let that sit in for a moment. It only took 7.5, 8 years for this to happen, but it looks to be finally happening this year. She is going to be leaving Lucasfilm. Now, we much better that she had been fired, but we got to take the wins where we can get them. Now, normally we would be skeptical of this kind of news because this has been something that we have wished for a very, very long time. And many stories came out saying that, oh, this is going to be the year that Kathleen Kennedy finally leaves, all of which never came to fruition. But this time, I think we can really take this to heart because this is being reported by The Hollywood Reporter. It was reported by Variety and a host of other entertainment news outlets. So I think we can really hold on to this and think that this is actually going to come to fruition this year. Now, it doesn't give a date of when she's going to retire, but it does appear that 2025 will be the final year that we will have Kathleen Kennedy to kick around. Because frankly, she deserved to be kicked around. This was a franchise that Disney spent $4 billion to purchase from George Lucas. And at the time, I thought it was going to be a really big deal. Disney has a wealth of resources and they can really tell good stories, or so we thought. Fast forward to today, and now all we have with a remaining of Lucasfilm after this woman was done with it is a smoldering pile of ashes. $4 billion to bring this to purchase this franchise, only to not recoup any of that money to cover the cost of that purchase. Each one of these films continue to go down and down and down. As you can see right here, Star Wars The Force Awakens started out at $2 billion. Then it declined down to Last Jedi at $1.3 billion, ultimately ending with The Rise of Palpatine, because we're not going to call that movie Rise of Skywalker, at $1 billion. She lost half the audience within the span of 4 years. They purchased this franchise in 2012, only to lose half the audience in 4 years' time. That is not a legacy to brag with. And in fact, if this were any of us at The Last Jedi, we would have been fired. Because the entire intent of sales is that you always try to eclipse your last performance. And that's probably pretty much with anything. You always try to eclipse your last performance. Not so with Kathleen Kennedy. She was the only one to be able to stay on her job, lose half the audience in 4 years' time, not be able to cover the cost of the purchase of Lucasfilm from that performance in the box office, and still keep her job. But thank goodness someone finally decided that she is worth getting rid of. I wish it was by firing, but we will take it by retirement. So there's just, as I mentioned before, there's just a pile of smoldering ashes here. The TV shows have turned out to be trash. The movies have turned out to be trash. Many of the games that came out during this time period turned out to be trash. And it's just, this woman has been making bad decisions after bad decisions. And this isn't an extend to Star Wars, of course. It also extended to Indiana Jones. The Dial of Destiny was complete and utter garbage. That was a waste of a movie. It was the first giant flop. I mean, giant flop. Everybody, yes, Solo lost money, but the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, that was a really big budget movie of the major franchise. It was the titular characters movie. It wasn't a Star Wars movie or anything like that. It was the titular character Indiana Jones. It lost money. Willow, the other property from Lucasfilm, that D+ show was so piss poor that was stricken from the record. You can't even go back on Disney Plus to watch that. They want you to make believe that it does not exist. And that is all because of this woman here. Her legacy, as someone mentioned before, is that South Park episode. And we all know the saying, put a chick in it and make her gay. That is going to be her legacy. That is going to be this woman's legacy, because everything associated with Star Wars, with Lucasfilm, with Willow was put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. So good riddance to bad rubbish is what I say to that. And of course, this now leads to the big problem that's going to come afterwards. Who is going to be her replacement? Is it going to be Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kevin Feige? To which I say, I sure the hell hope not. It's kind of ironic that all of their names start with the letter F. And for me, F stands for failure. And that's pretty much what all three of these men brought. Now, Jon Favreau, many people say, well, he did The Mandalorian, the season 1 and 2, to which I say, yeah, it was okay. But frankly, are you guys really running back to go watch seasons 1 and 2, especially after what Disney did to Gina Carano, where they had just unceremoniously fired her because she had a difference of opinion on some political issue that had nothing to do with Star Wars? Where was Jon Favreau in regards to that? And frankly, The Mandalorian is just Boba Fett with a little Yoda. Not really interesting stuff there or anything like that. Dave Filoni, all he cares about is Ahsoka and trying to shoehorn her into everything associated with Star Wars, when in fact she should be completely dead so that she can line up, so that the canon can line up with the original trilogy. And let's not even get started on Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has basically run Marvel into the ground. If you want to get a really good primer on the state of Marvel from phases 1 to 3 and the phases afterwards, I really recommend you check out Midnight Edge's pages. They have a plethora of videos that you can watch that will tell you the history of phases 1 through 3, which frankly had nothing to do with Kevin Feige, and everything that had to do with Kevin Feige from phases 4 through 5 and whatever is going to hell on with Captain Falcon, American Soldier, that movie, all of that is Kevin Feige, and we all see the results of that. So I would not want him to be anywhere near Lucasfilm. You stay over there for Marvel. In fact, Kevin Feige, you should be the next on the chopping block, and hopefully we'll get some good news if Fantastic Four doesn't perform as you think it will. But anyways, those guys out of the way, they have some additional names down here in this article. J.J. Abrams, hell no. J.J. Abrams was responsible for the destruction of Star Wars, along with Kathleen Kennedy. He also messed up on Star Trek and Bad Robot, that Lost series he did for ABC back in the day. Not really anything to write home about. And it's kind of good that he's sitting in director's prison right now. Nobody's really talking about him. And as this quote says right here, I don't see him coming back to that toxic cesspool, says one insider. It definitely left a mark on him. That's because he created the toxic cesspool. He was part of that. So I don't think he's going to be coming back. Emma Watts, I'm not familiar with her or anything like that. I do like her name, by the way. But if she oversaw the X-Men movies, those X-Men movies ranged in quality from great to what the hell were you thinking? So we already got that with Star Wars, although most of the shit with Star Wars is all the way down closer to what the hell are you thinking. And lastly, this Hannah Minghella, it looks like she might be the most successful of these three names, considering the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Hotel Transylvania, Jumanji, and Goosebumps were all really good kid shows. But I don't know if Star Wars needs kids branding right about now. In my view, the best person that I think would be this guy right here, Tony Gilroy. Tony Gilroy happened to capture the best essence and ethos of Star Wars with his Rogue One movie, which considering happened to be the fourth most successful movie of the Disney Star Wars era, and my opinion, it happens to be the best, but that's a low bar, low hanging fruit, so we can't really go based off of that. Andor wasn't my cup of tea or anything like that, but it did really have a really good feel to it. It captured Star Wars in terms of the look and the aesthetic. So I think he would be a good candidate for taking over the helm of Lucasfilm. Don't know if he wants that job. It seems he's more of a creative as opposed to a manager, and I think it's very important that we need to have somebody who is a creator manager. And so I don't know if that is going to be him, but so yeah, where it goes from here, where Lucas goes from here after Kathleen Kennedy exits left, out of and rides off into whatever sunset she's going to be riding off into, Lord only knows. But I do want to respond to one other thing here, and this is from a guy that I've been following for quite some time, Derek Anderson. He's got some points right here that I want to go over and just try to get the juices flowing as to where Lucasfilm should go from here. Now, the first bullet point he has here is fire everyone and rehire. Now, I don't think you need to fire everyone, but you do need to fire those who happen to buy into Kathleen Kennedy's ideology of the Force is female. That pretty much told us everything we needed to know at the time when she first introduced herself to the world and with these properties. No, we don't need to push any type of ideology. We just need really good storytelling. We need people who are cultivators. And I like to sit there and say that in addition to people who can create and innovate, we also need people who are cultivators, who can cultivate and help grow the franchise, bring in new customers while also retaining the old customer base. We didn't get that with Lucasfilm, with Kathleen Kennedy at the helm of Lucasfilm. In fact, it has become completely fractured. The OG trilogy fans are pretty much checked out. The prequel trilogy fans pretty much are still hanging on by a thread, and these Disney Star Wars, whatever the hell they are just out there antagonizing anybody and everybody who doesn't like the crop of shit that is that's been fed to us. There's another video that Derek Anderson did where he got into a fight with I won't say he got into a fight, but he really got into a heated discussion with a lot of these woke tards, for lack of a better term, who really don't care for Star Wars. They really I think they really hate the original trilogy, and they definitely hate the prequel trilogy. And he was trying to reason with them in his video, so I'm gonna link to that as well, along with this one. So I don't think it's important you fire everyone, but you do got to go in there and root people out, because Star Wars is peak Americana. It is what we represent, what was being put out to the world as a representation of American values and ethics and morals. It's the equivalent of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings for the UK, Kurosawa's works over in Japan, or what the Journey to the West means to the Chinese. That's what Star Wars means to Americans. And don't listen to the people who'll sit there and say that, oh, well, Star Wars was always a political blah, blah, blah. No, it was never political, but even at the same time, even if it were, it was being political through American lens. So if you have people working for you that are anti-American and doesn't value what this country stands for, don't hire them. If you don't have people who have appreciation for the canon and the lore and the Star Wars universe, don't hire them. If they come in there with a chip on their shoulder wanting to preach their gospel about whatever ideology they have, don't hire them. The next one, recanonize the expanded universe. That's a easy one to do. All Disney needed to do at the time they purchased this franchise was just to take the Thrawn trilogy and give it movie form. It was an easy win and an easy W, but they decided to go, and we all see what they decided to do. They decided to go their own way, and we all have seen the results of that. And it harkens back to a story that was allegedly told about how George Lucas actually gave the blueprint for a sequel trilogy that he was working on to Bob Iger after the sale of Lucasfilm to Disney. And Bob Iger just waved it off and said that they're going to go do their own thing, and we see the results. You had the creator there looking to give you help, and you just waved it off. And now now a whole bunch of people are wanting this octogenarian to come back and take over the franchise and help shepherd it along. And I don't think that's going to happen, and it definitely shouldn't happen. This goes back to my first point. We need cultivators. We need people of the new generation, people like Star Wars Theory, Ryan Cannell, anyone who has expansive knowledge about this universe to come in there and help bring it along. And the first place you want to start is with the Thrawn trilogy. That's an easy win, and that goes into the next point right there with recast the OG trio, or use Heir to the Empire. I don't think you recast the OG trio. In fact, I say you just leave the original trilogy alone. Don't even mess with it. In fact, I think we need to go back and undo what George Lucas did to the original trilogy and inserting a lot of that CG nonsense into these classic movies. Give us the original masters with 4K updates and everything like that, and just re-release those. Those would make money, I guarantee it. And then the last one is send Disney Star Wars Legends. This requires Disney to swallow its pride and to just admit they were wrong. Admit what they did to this franchise, to what they did to Lucasfilm was wrong, and that their approach was the wrong approach. That requires humility and grace, and I don't think Disney has any of that. But I certainly do agree with most of what Derek Anderson has here. Don't agree with all of it, especially the first one. But for the most part, I think it's a really good start. I think this is a really good place for us to go from, and trying to help rebuild this storied franchise and brand. But you guys let me know what you think. Do you guys agree with me or anything like that? Are you guys happy that Kathleen Kennedy is no longer going to be with us or anything like that? Are going to be, and I don't mean no longer with us in terms of being unalive, because we don't want that. We want her to live a long happy life, just away from Lucasfilm, like she should have been all those years ago after the abysmal performance of The Last Jedi. Or are you sad that she's going to be leaving? Maybe you are a fan of Kathleen Kennedy and think that she should stay on and keep doing what she's doing, which I hope you don't really share that one. But we welcome all thoughts here. Jump down in the comments and let me know what you think there. And remember to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. All of that helps me out, so that you guys will be notified when I go live or post videos like this one. And this is Chris Boats signing off, and I'll catch you in the next video. You guys take it easy.